This is the NSU Basketball Coaches Show with head coaches of the RiverHawks, Jay Havens and Keith Ferguson. The show is hosted by Orry the Voice Phillips. The NSU Basketball Show is presented by the NSU Alumni Association. Joining the voice alongside is myself, Sean Solo, and William Captain Morgan of the RiverHawks SportsNest podcast. The show is recorded live at 6 p.m. on Mondays at Emery's Grill in downtown Tahlequah. The show is aired on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on Lakes Country 102.1. The video portion of the show will be posted on the Rogue Radio Network YouTube channel Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Now, on to the show.
Recording from Emery's Grill in downtown Tahlequah, this is the NSU Basketball Coaches Show presented by the NSU Alumni Association. I'm Orry Phillips, the voice of the RiverHawks, and I'm joined by the RiverHawks SportsNest consisting of DJ Sean Solo and Captain William Morgan. Alongside us are the head coaches of NSU Basketball, Jay Havens for the men and Keith Ferguson for the women. Before we get to our conversation, we'd like to extend a big thank you to the program's presenting sponsor. That's the NSU Alumni Association. Membership in the NSU Alumni Association is the most visible way to show your Northeastern pride. Members enjoy exclusive perks and money-saving benefits, and also support the Alumni Association's outreach efforts. Learn more about membership at nsualumni.com. The first full week of January also marked the Road Rivalry Week for NSU Hoops. I say Road Rivalry Week 5 times really fast. RiverHawks traveled Wednesday to face Central Oklahoma in Edmond. The men fell in overtime 97-93, and the women went to 5-0 in the Ferguson era against the Chos. That was behind a 31-3 scoring run that spanned the middle 9 minutes of the second half and a 63-57 victory. Gabby Tilley led with 16 points. Here's the call of her final basket in the win on Lakes Country 102.1.
You'd think one more big shot probably puts this thing firmly on NSU's side to the finish. Let's see if they can get it. 10 seconds now. Tilley, long shot, straight away, three! Got it to fall! It's a 15-point game, and Northeastern State throttling, rolling those Chos. 16 from Tilley.
We were all kind of cramped in like sardines at that UCO scores table, so I was by a lot of Broncos people.
Oh.
That got me a few glances, that little in the Chos line. Anyway, on Saturday, NSU women continued their stretch of success against in-state rivalry competition, taking an 86-44 victory over Rogers State behind a career-high 21 points from Anderson Brown. The 42-point defeat marked the worst loss at home for Rogers State since 2020. The RiverHawks shot 57.7%, their best shooting performance against a conference opponent since their last season in the Lone Star Conference in 2011. That was against Southwestern Oklahoma, now a member of the Great American. Meanwhile, the NSU men shot 62.7% against the Hillcats, their strongest shooting clip this season, the highest that RSU surrendered since February 15th, 2024, in a dominant 96-87 victory. Xavier Glenn had 32 points and 13 rebounds for the double-double. His point total marked the highest for an NSU player against an MIAA opponent since February 15th of 2023, when Dylan Bailey dropped 33 on Newman. Glenn added to his highlight reel late with a three-point bucket and a block on the other side. That was inside of the game's last 2.5 minutes. Here's a call of that sequence on Lakes Country.
Weber drives in, back out, far corner three, Glenn, up and in, Xavier Glenn, the tray, and it's a 5-point basketball game. 25 points for X. 6 straight performance, at least in the 20s for him. What a rejection from X the other way. He says, no thank you to the driving Jaybert Anderson. He says, try again, go back to the drawing board.
Always fun to dominate in-state competition. I think dominant is a good way to describe last Saturday. Talk through the last week, coaches, and what you saw for your teams. We'll start with Coach Havens.
Well, obviously mixed results, and as I told you Saturday, I was glad we were able to finish that one in 40 minutes. I'd had enough of overtime games, 3 in a row. I wish we could have put together 2 halves at Central Oklahoma. We were just so lethargic, just not what we needed to be in the first half to have a chance on the road, and kind of dug ourselves a hole. Give our guys credit for making plays and making shots and coming back and forcing the overtime, and just weren't able to get it done and come back. And now you've got a big challenge at Rogers. Very, very difficult place to win, not just for us, but for everybody in the league. They're really good at home, and coming off a huge win against Fort Smith. And really got to give our guys credit. They were locked in. I thought that was as efficient as we've been offensively for 40 minutes. We were able to string it together, and we weren't perfect by any means. We watched some film today and took some questionable shots and some things like that, and turned it over way too much and left some points at the free throw line. But to be able to go on the road against a really quality opponent at a difficult place to win, I'm really proud of our guys for being able to make plays and get that done on Saturday. So hopefully we can build on that. That should give us some confidence that we can compete with anybody in the league, and now we've got the opportunity going forward to do that.
All right, Coach Ferg.
I mean, we've been that's back-to-back years we've been at UCO and had to make a big run, into the third, beginning of the fourth to come back and get them. I was kind of the same way with Coach Havens. I thought we were pretty lethargic early. We just never really established anything on either end of the floor. And then in the third, we had to sit some beginning of the third, we had to sit some starters, and whatever it was, our bench came in with Gabby and Stun and Corey and Snowda. Those kids came in and really got it going for us, and then we were able to go on that 31-3 run and kind of put it away. So that part was really good. And then I was as surprised as anybody Saturday. We hadn't won there yet since I've been here. Kind of got known. They came out. They didn't have a lot of energy. We did. We were up 15-2, and you were just waiting for them in that second quarter to like turn it on and just start flying around and doing some of the stuff that Rogers has been known to do, and they just never did. So our kids really, and I'll give this, I've been on our kids a lot. We've had leads, and then the third and fourth quarters, we've let leads just slip a little bit because we got lackadaisical and relaxed. And, anywhere you go in the league and win by 40, that doesn't happen. No. To double up somebody almost, that just is so unheard of. But our kids did it. They just kept going, and everybody that walked in gave us positive minutes, and we were able to walk out of there with a really easy victory that we were in control of from start to finish, and that was really good to see.
We'll go to Sean in a moment for Banger Player of the Week, and then we'll throw much of the rest of the segment to the SportsNest and their questions for you guys. But I do want to take some time to shout out the NSU crowd that came out to Claremore this past Saturday. It was not easy to get into the Expo for that doubleheader because, and we talked about it throughout the week, they had taken tickets offline. You couldn't buy them online, couldn't buy them over the phone. You had to pay by card at the gate. They made sure, they did not want our money. They did not want us to show up, and yet we did. I would say it was about 60-40 NSU, RSU in terms of fans of the women's game. It flipped back to about 40-60 in the guys' one. But by the end, both teams, they rewarded the folks that made the trip out, and now Sean will talk about some individual drivers behind that.
Well, this week for the Banger players, this was kind of an easy call for this weekend. So on the women's side, of course, Aniston Brown, 21 points, 9 from 11 from the floor, 2 for 3 from the three-point, and 7 boards. So outstanding performance from AB. So that was awesome. And then the guys, again, Xavier Glenn, double-double versus Rogers State, 32 points, 13 boards, 11 for 14 from the field, 2 for 2 from three-point land, and 8 from 11 from free throws. So the kid was in his zone. So Coach, when Xavier has, one of those nights where everything seemed to be, come easy, when a guy is that efficient, how does that lift everyone else on the team?
Well, you'd like to think, if they have to pay special attention to him, that should open things up for others. And I think our guys feed off of that, and I think they obviously knew he was having a hot hand going, and they tried to get him the ball in good spots, and he delivered. He delivered time after time, and we were able to get out in transition. He got some in transition as well, and made the most of his free throw opportunities. And so it's just a really big performance that was very needed for our team.
Right.
Well, before we move on to Stein for the other Banger player, Coach Havens, Xavier Glenn was someone last week that we had talked about being the captain's catch. We were looking for him to do some things, and being able to spot the players on your team right now to see what they need to do against certain teams is something that right now we're going into MIAA. You're deep in it right now. It was nice to get those wins last week. But coming up to this next week, we've got obviously you're looking at knocking all those out as far as win-losses. It's the next game. So what players are you looking for to this Friday facing UFAS for the second game? I went way off there.
Third game of the road trip.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Go ahead, Coach.
You can cut that.
I don't know if if you particularly go into a game looking for anybody to be better than another, but I think we're hopefully starting to figure out who does what well and from where. And when you get to be good and efficient offensively, you take advantage of that. So obviously getting Ethan the ball in the post is creating opportunities because most everybody in our league is running a second defender double team at him. And so now we've got to learn to play out of that situation. And I think we're getting better at it. We need to recognize that and just being able to play off of each other and getting A.J. Reed in ball screen is a good thing for us. Getting the ball to Nemo in a long closeout situation, he can get downhill and create for himself and others. Taven and Xavier both have the opportunity to post in our offense, and if they have a smaller guard on them, we give them the freedom to go post up smaller guards, and they're both pretty good in there and both unselfish enough to recognize if they run a second defender that they can pass out of that and make plays for others, and then just getting more contributions from our bench. I thought our bench was great on Saturday. We got totally outscored their bench, and so the production we got from our guys coming in to impact the game was huge for us. So I think for us, it's just in general, we're just getting better at knowing each other and executing together.
Talking more about Aniston Brown, what a performance this past Saturday against Rogers State. Talking to you, Coach Ferg, about that. 21 points, and we know she's a shooter. And when she shoots well off the bench, she's a great tone setter for us. Seemed to be against the Hillcats, and that was a game where we all were on point. All the players that made it out there on point. You had 9 that scored at least 6, tons of different players that got reps. I said it on the air, Coach. That was about as relaxed late in the game as I've ever seen you here at Northeastern State. Just had that great sense of calm and just, we got this. Complete opposite case on the other side. But what was it like getting that big boost from Madison?
Well, the thing that Stun does real well is she's really gotten into this role of I'm going to sit and watch what's going on and try to get a feel of how the game's being played, and then coming in to insert that scoring spark. And she's gotten so much better defensively from last year at this point, where last year she was more of a liability at times, and this year she's not. She's really focused on that end. So it allows her to play and be more relaxed, and we don't have to take her out real quick if there's a bad matchup. But Stun has the ability to score quick and going 9 for 11. And she hadn't had a great couple games before. And you're just waiting for her to get going because she's that kind of player, and she understands that what her role is and what she does well. She's one of the best shooters in the league, and we're going to keep giving her opportunity to let it fly and let it go. And what she's doing better this year than last year, too, is she's attacking the rim a lot more.
Yes.
I think last year she had like 9 or 10 free throws for the year, and this year she's already passed that mark. I mean, she's not going to get there a lot, but the ability to put it on the floor and go out the rim just creates some problems for us. And I think it's kind of hard for us too. We've got 4 left-handed kids playing. I mean, it's always hard when you have one left-handed kid. You can really focus on it, but you got her. You got Mac, you got Michaela. All those kids are lefties that can get downhill and do some stuff. So it's, but she really gives us a bounce that an ability to fill the game up quick, and she can go on a 12-0 run by herself real fast.
Oh yeah.
So with Aniston, how is that? Do you think she benefits better by coming off the bench, seeing what the game is, or as opposed to her actually starting? Is that kind of how her game is? Do you think
I don't know. I haven't started yet, so maybe I'm an idiot for not starting.
Well,
there could be that. No, I think what I appreciate about Aniston Brown more than, and this is a trait that runs in her family. She was raised this way. Her sister was this way. All the kid wants to do is help the team win. And she does not worry about her scoring. She's just as happy if she goes over if she has 21. I mean, honestly, the other day after the game, everybody's like, great game, and she's embarrassed by it because she doesn't like it. She cares about her teammates doing well, and she cares about us winning. So I think Stun would, if I was like, hey, I need you to carry the water bottles out to the bench and do this, and then you're going to get a play, she would do it because she cares about her team. So because of those traits, she's such an amazing human and kind-hearted kid and kid you want in your program because she's just worried about – and no, don't get me wrong, if she plays bad, she's frustrated, but she's not making it about her. She feels bad because she let the team down. Sure. If we win and she plays bad, you'll never know. If she plays well and we lose, she's not happy. So that's the stuff you don't find very often anymore.
Well, Coach Ferg, moving on to defensively, what are some of the things that you've seen this year that you've progressed in that you've really liked?
We're able to match up a lot of different ways. We can go big. We can have Mac and Michaela or Stun at the 2 and 3, Shield Knight and D at the 4 and 5, or Rainwater and D at the 4 and 5. So we can go a lot of different ways that I think make it hard for other teams. If we want to go small, we put Snowda, Reese in there, Gabby Tilley in at the 3, and we can go small. So our ability to go a lot of different directions helps us. And if you want to match up one way, we can counter that with a group that's usually not as inept offensively. You don't want to go big and be completely inept, or go small and you can't run your stuff. And I think our ability to do that really helps us. We've got more length on the wing than we've had the last few years, and that and then our quality of depth. I mean, we've got good players that don't get a lot of minutes that could help us out for sure the last 2 years, and could play for a lot of other teams in the league. But we've got a nice quality of depth, and I think that helps you being able to guard. We can pressure when we need to. We can go a few different ways, and then they've bought into it. Like, you can match up however you want to, but if the kids don't buy into what you're doing defensively and don't think it works, then it doesn't matter. You can run a zone, you can run 1-3-1, you can run whatever you want. As long as they buy into it, you're going to be okay. Because there's a lot of ways to win games. A lot of teams have won championships in a lot of different defensive systems. But our kids have believed in what we're doing, and it's working, so that helps.
I don't know about you guys. I could personally talk about beating Rogers State for another 3 hours. Unfortunately, we do have to move on to the next segment, talking about important game Friday, Arkansas Fort Smith. That is next on the NSU Basketball Coaches Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association on Lakes Country. Welcome back to the NSU Basketball Coaches Show. We'll continue the conversation, but first want to thank our official radio sponsors for the season. Without their support, this show would not be possible. The NSU Alumni Association, Archer Cleaners, Cherokee County Collision, Chick-fil-A Tahlequah, NSU College of Extended Learning, Riverside Liquor and Whirling Dervish, Rose Rock Coffee, the Shockley Group, Tahlequah Family Vision Clinic, Northeastern State University Relations, and the Wash Barn. Northeastern State, they don't take the court this week until Friday. That's their lone game. Sees them traveling to the Stubblefield Center to battle Arkansas Fort Smith. 5:30 start on the doubleheader. NSU ladies throttled Fort Smith by a score of 71-49 in Tahlequah in December. The Lions are 2-13 entering the week and 1-5 in conference, while the Fort Smith men are in recovery mode after seeing their first 2 losses of the campaign occur last week to RSU and UCO. Previously, the Fort Smith men were one of the last 5 unbeaten teams in Division II men's basketball, starting 13-0 for the first time since the 2017-18 season. The NSU women aim to continue their rise up the league ladder, currently at 12-3 overall, 4-2 in conference. The NSU men 9-6, 2-4 in league play. Let's start by getting your thoughts on your opponents this week. Start with Coach Ferg.
Well, Fort Smith's really scary because they play. Braxton and I were looking at this. They've had 9 kids start 3 games or more. They've changed starting lineups a ton of times. So you're worried about it, and how are they going to scout? How are you going to prep for them? Because you're not really sure what they're going to come at you with. And then the other, if you take them lightly, they got Missouri Southern at home. So you can't. This league, you can't walk in and just go, oh, yeah, we're going to roll somebody because we did last time. And that's the worst idea to have, because it's not like that in this league. There's not. The talent gap is still too close. So they've got a couple of different kids back that didn't play for them last time. I'm sure they're going to be a little motivated, and you can't get fat and happy because you just had a big win or 2 big wins this week on the road against your rivalries. You can't just go, yeah, we're good now. It's not going to work. So, they cause some problems with their length and athleticism. When they use it right, they can be really, really effective. And they've got a bunch of kids they can throw at you in a lot of different combos. So we've got to be sharp. Hopefully we can continue to guard well and take care of the basketball. And we've got to rebound better. I mean, that's our biggest thing. We're getting beat in conference play and rebounding. We've got to do a better job in that area. and then continue to make. Obviously, I'm a great coach when we make shots. I mean, I am the smartest dude in the room when we make shots. When we don't make shots, BJ will tell you back there, Will's brother, I'm an idiot. You know, I don't know anything when we don't make shots. So we gotta make sure and do some of that. But that's going to be the challenge at their place is just maintaining their frantic pace and all the different combos they throw at you.
All right, Coach Havens.
Yeah, obviously got a very big test. You're talking about a nationally ranked team, a very deep team that's towards the top of the standings in our league. They shoot it really well, shot it great against us last time, and that was the difference in the game. They make 11 threes at 50%. We get outscored significantly from the three-point line, and we're right there. They stretched it out late when we had to foul and press, and they handled business with good guard play down the stretch. But it's a huge test. They're very good. They're very deep. They play a lot of guys. They're athletic. They've got size. They shoot it well. There's not just a glaring weakness that you can try to exploit. So you've got to be at your best. And so that's going to be our challenge. We're still preaching, growth mindset, show up and improve every day. We've got to keep getting better at what we do, especially on the defensive end. But I think, based on, our recent games, I think we're pretty tough to beat.
Yes.
We have lost a couple, but it was overtime, and we've got to figure out a way to squeeze out the one or two possessions it's going to take in a tight situation. So feel good coming off of Saturday's game when we were in that situation. We made the plays, so hopefully that's growth. We see that, and we can build upon that. But we've got a huge challenge, especially going on the road. So they're a really good team, good program. They got it rolling right now. We're going to have to be at our best.
And one of the things you mentioned, Coach, was the shooting percentage, and that is one thing that they just in our house last time they came in and they just shot better. So have they changed up a lot of their lineups since we played them last, or have you seen anything major different from what we can attack differently this year? I mean, obviously when you're shooting that kind of field goal percentage, that just happens at times. You can't always plan for that. I like Coach Ferg can, but
yeah, they shoot it well. They're really opportunistic. They shoot 26 threes a game, so that's a big part of what they do. Just under 40% of their shot attempts are from the three. And so if you're an analytic guy in basketball, that's kind of the magic number. If you have a good shooting team, they say about 40% of your shots should come from the three if you shoot it well, and they do. Buckman has been out recently, and he hurt us, especially early in the game last time around. You always got to plan for them to be at full strength, so don't know if he'll be in the lineup or not. But they play enough guys that they bring enough in that they've got a lot of weapons. If he's not in there, someone else will be in there that has the ability to knock down the three. We've just got to do a better job of, you look at that box score, we turned it over too much. We weren't horrible on the glass. I think they got 9 offensive rebounds that are averaging a little over 13 a game. So that's part of it. We've got to limit them. And then one of the best times to shoot threes is off of offensive rebounds. So if you can limit that kind of opens things up for those opportunities for them. So we've just got to figure out a way to be the best version of ourselves on the defensive end and try to take away what they do best. And one of those things is shooting the three. That we can't have another outing where they're making 11 threes at 50% and hope for success on the road.
Do you think against a team like that pushing the ball or going the half set to slow things down, does that have any effect on them as far as beating them on the offensive side?
I think we've got to be ourselves. I think we're pretty good in transition. I think watching the Rogers State broadcast back, a stat I didn't have that their guys did, that we were number 3 in the country in fast break points. And so I think that's something we can do, but we got to be opportunistic and we've got to limit the turnovers.
Right.
That's been an issue. So you want to be opportunistic and get easy looks and quick good looks if you can, but you also got to make sure you get a look and you're not punting the ball. Right. We're punting the ball way too much. So, but yeah, we want to be opportunistic. We want to be ourselves, and we want to play. We're one of the best scoring teams in the league, and towards the top of the NCAA Division II in scoring. So we need to be ourselves on the offensive end, play with some pace, move it, attack, and hopefully be good at decision making and take care of the ball.
And I think you've already hit your over-under on the overtime game, so can we cut that out?
That?
Because I've got the cardiologist on standby. I don't know if you've got one as well, but
When I asked, it turns out you don't get paid time and a half for your overtime.
Okay. You're not trying to stretch that NSU dollar to say.
I would rather just cut it off right at 40, and let's find a way to be at least ahead by 1 point or more at the end of that 40 minutes.
So going to you, Coach Ferg, talking about your game against the Lions, I'm looking at some of the major point swings from when we beat them in December. We were a +10 on points in the paint, +9 points off the bench. I think we've gotten accustomed to our second unit outscoring opposition. Also +8 on fast break points. We mentioned it already, UFAS did not shoot the ball well against us, only about 28%. One player that really stood out when it came to knocking down the three ball was Michaela Bingley. 12 points, all of those were off of triples. She's somebody you've worked back into the starting lineup. Where were the openings in that UFAS game for her? What do you think about her moving forward?
Well, like Michaela and I had a conversation today, she's going to be open a lot from three. You don't guard people that are shooting 18%. She's going to have a lot of clean looks. Now, the thing is with her, she's not a bad shooter. She shot 37% for a career from three down at UTPB. So it's not like she's a bad shooter. I think she's starting to rush and a little in between the ears now. And she again, I'm mad about it, or not mad about it, but she's frustrated about it. And what does she do? She's in the gym today for 50 minutes getting threes up. So she's handling it the right way. She's doing what she's got to do. She'll knock down threes. She's too good of a player to continue that streak up, and she just needs to have eyes on the rim and look at it. So, and our kids have faith in her. Our whole team does. So that was big, though, for her to get those 4 out of 7. And I think it kind of sunk them because they were looking over at the staff going, wait, you told us she's not a shooter. And she just hit 4. And we've all been there as coaches, right? Like, you're sitting there and some kid that's not a shooter goes and knocks some in, and you're like, yeah, crap.
Somebody going to guard that guy?
Yeah, and the crowd's yelling at you and everything, and you're like, nah. It's the same thing when our crowd yells at somebody to shoot it, and I'm like, no, stop. No, don't yell that. So it's just one of those things that happens. But we're excited for her to have a game. And her and Snowden have kind of been trading off starting, and that's going to be a matchup potential here and every night. And again, those two kids, they want to win. They don't care. They just want to win games.
Real quick, I'm just going to go over the last time you played UFAS. Fast break points, y'all were 11-3 over them. Points in the paint, 22-12. So that's something obviously you want to continue.
Well, that's just like Orry said. Yeah, we want to keep doing that. And I think for us, we got to get the ball into D and Mac. They're too unselfish and they're too good of players to not get the basketball, and then you get a chance to play out of it. Like Coach Haven says, they're going to go through Ethan at the post, and you got to get learned this a long time growing up. If you can get points in the paint, you're going to have a lot more success. Whether that's transition, guards off the bounce, through the post. I don't care how you get the ball there. We just need to get there and score and have some opportunities in there. And then it just opens everything up and allows you to be a better offensive team, which, we probably spend, right now defensively, we're one of the best teams in the league, but we're in the middle of the pack on the offensive end, so we maybe need to flip our coaching strategies a little bit.
Noted.
One more question for you, Coach Havens. Then move on to the captain's catch in our final segment. Cameron Johnson, 18 points against us back in December. A great athletic forward. That's still his season high. Where were the issues maybe defending him back then? What have you seen from him on tape now?
He's just a really good player. I mean, they've got really good players, and I think the depth is their strength. We've got a knack for bringing out a career high in somebody, too. I think we're three games in a row here where we've done that. Obviously, we're committed to getting better on the defensive end and need to do so yesterday. But it's a point of emphasis. We've got to do a good job on camera. But they have so many weapons. I mean, sometimes it's a bad matchup. Sometimes it's a strategy that they're employing. We've just got to be solid and do it together and be good at having our brothers back and be better in rotations and be better at communicating and all the things we're preaching to our team right now. But we've got to be ready because they are going to throw a lot of guys out there that can hurt you. And so hopefully it's not Cameron Johnson this time. Hopefully we do a better job on him and not let someone else, take his place and have a great night.
Up next, we have the Captain's Catch with Captain Morgan. He'll look at a player from both teams. He's got his eye on for this week. We'll also get final thoughts from the table. It's next on the NSU Basketball Coaches Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association. We return to the NSU Basketball Coaches Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association. We have a few more things to get to. First, a reminder, we'll be live on Friday from the Stubblefield Center for a 5:30 p.m. tip-off for the women's game. The men will take the floor right after. That's on Lakes Country 102.1, the official radio home of NSU Athletics. Coverage again starting at 5. Captain William Morgan has his picks for players to watch this week. Let's go to the Captain's Catch, and with that, cue the music.
Cue the music. Arr.
Here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here on the USS RiverHawks, the Captain's Catch for the RiverHawks women this week is Gabrielle Tilley. She can be a spark in the sails and the calm hand on deck when the seas get choppy. Tilley brings energy, defense, and timely buckets. If she catches a rhythm early, the ship's headed full steam toward victory for the RiverHawks. Arr. Now, the Captain's Catch for the RiverHawks men this week is A.J. Reed. Not every difference maker fires the cannon, some tighten the ropes. A.J. Reed does the dirty work, guards anyone, hits the shot when it matters, and brings the edge every trip down to the floor. On the road at Fort Smith, this kind of grit can turn the tide. That's the Captain's Catch for this week. Arr.
Big thank you to Captain Morgan for his takes. His weekly Captain's Catch, a highlight of the show. One final reminder that the most visible way to show Northeastern pride is through membership with the NSU Alumni Association. Make sure to download the Green and White Network mobile app for alumni and tap the Coaches Show tile. Fill out the form to enter to win a $25 Visa gift card while you receive a generous discount offer for Alumni Association membership. Just for taking the time to fill it out, we'll do our weekly drawing now. Coach Ferg has elected a representative to draw for him tonight.
You ready to draw? Okay, this is my daughter Harper and her friend. She's going to pick one.
Just pick one.
Okay.
She did good. Close her eyes and all.
All right, it is Ashton Barnowski. Big congratulations to Ashton for being the winner of this week's $25 Visa gift card.
A big round of applause for Harper for drawing as well, maybe?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Definitely. Anyway, another great show in the books. I mentioned it already. We could talk for 3 hours about beating Rogers State, about beating UCO, both on the road in their house in front of a lot of NSUites. The fans traveled great this last week. Hope they can do it again this week when we go to the natural state. But final thoughts before we get to this week's games.
I just want to see them, continue. We're getting into the meat of the conference. We're hitting where players are supposed to be coming together, hitting into this conference play. So cut down on the turnovers and get some people to step up and, round out the stat sheet.
Yeah, moving forward this week after a big week, I know it's been huge, a huge win this past week, double there. But moving into this week, I want to see continue to move things. Obviously, on Coach Havens on the men, I think that you've made some improvements since that game as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do in that game. I feel pretty confident with it. I'm going to travel down there on my own, and then Keith, I know that you've added a player since we played them last and have changed some things up, but I'm looking forward to seeing, and they've obviously changed up a little bit, but seeing how you make those adjustments, and I'd like to go in there and see, the wins continue.
All right, final thoughts from the coaches.
Well, we are excited. Corey Rainwater added to the roster, and she's been a benefit. And you saw the other night, she was finally able to have some success for having very limited practices. I think she was really rushing trying to do things, but give a shout out to all the people that showed up. We had a great crowd at UCO, at Rogers. For the girls' game, we had better crowds in both those, and it's really cool when you go on the road and you're about at 50% or more than the home team, and it shows what kind of fans we have. And again, all those people that fed us over the break and all the things they did. We've gotten a ton of support over this Christmas break and it's just tough trying to feed two basketball teams, and a lot of people stepped up and did some great things for us. And I know Peggy Glenn over at the alumni and foundation, she's really working hard to help with transportation and more meals and more things going on. So I really appreciate what they're trying to do over there.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. It is a long break, and I think everybody experiences that week between Christmas and New Year's where you don't even know what day it is, and that's even extended for us because we're not in classes and you're just looking for the next game, and at the same time we've got a lot of meals to take care of for our crews, and our community steps up huge every year, and so we're very thankful for that. I'm glad Coach mentioned that, and classes started today, hopefully back into a routine, and looking forward to the MIAA schedule coming up ahead. A lot of big challenges, and none bigger than this Friday when you get a chance to go play a nationally ranked team on their home floor. And as a competitor, I think these are the nights you look forward to. I mean, the running, the sprints, and going out on the turf and lifting weights and all that, that's part of it. But when you get a game night against a really good team in your conference and you get the opportunity, that's what you live for. So I'm anxious to see how our guys respond.
Yep.
No doubt about that. Great show again this week, and we'll be back Monday Night Live from Memories to talk more about it, with it airing the following Tuesday, 6 p.m. on Lakes Country. This has been the NSU Basketball Coaches Show presented by the NSU Alumni Association. We'll catch you this Friday night at the Stubblefield Center.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,